Lady Charmaine, and my guest today hit the scene with her R&B group Brownstone in the mid-1990s. The group was signed to Michael Jackson's music company, which was called MJJ Music. And now she's here today to talk about her new venture in television in the hit reality show R&B Divas Atlanta, airing on TV One. I want you to help me welcome Miss Nicci Gibert Daniels back to the show. Hey, Nicci, how you doing?
Hey, Lady Charmaine, how are you? Wonderful, I hope.
I am wonderful, just like you. I know you are just ecstatic. The show is on and doing well. So congratulations on your second season.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'm excited about season 2 of R&B Divas Atlanta, and I'm excited about season 1 of R&B Divas LA.
I was just going to say that too. Now you guys are a franchise. Now you have LA on board. So what made you all even want to branch out now to R&B Divas LA?
Well, we always it's funny because when I first came up with the idea, I reached out to Little Mo and I reached out to Kelly Price and Angie and stuff. So Faith and I always saw this as a franchise that would grow and be for TV One what the Housewives franchise is for Bravo. So we wanted it. We thought, this would be amazing to give all these incredible singers the platform to get back out there and show people that we still got it, we're still talented, but also that we're real women and we have real issues and real friendships and real friendships that ultimately end up dissolving or ending. So just keeping it real and wanting to share with our fans and of course, get new ones.
Now, with you having Divas being from New York, are you going to ever do an R&B Divas New York?
Are you kidding? We wouldn't be R&B Divas if we did. Faye is from Brick City. Of course we're going to do that. In fact, it's something that from our lips to God's ears, we definitely hope will be, the next natural progression. It's a really, great franchise. It's really helped all of us to, giving us all a shot in the arm in terms of our careers. So we think, shoot, who you got? You got, what's her name? Jasmine Sullivan on the East Coast. And you got so many wonderful singers out there. Jean Baylor from Jeanne, I've connected with on Twitter. So, yeah, absolutely. I think the East Coast R&B Divas is really important.
So what really made you even want to come up with this concept of R&B Divas to really highlight women in R&B music?
Just because, I didn't see a real representation. First and foremost, before it was about just R&B singers, I was like, there has to be something on TV that just shows real women. You know what I mean? Real women dealing with real issues. I never in my life, like, thrown a drink across the table or spit on one of my friends. I don't see those kinds of reactions with the people and the women that I hang out with. So that was sort of my first thought. Where are the representations of real black women on television? And then I thought, a common denominator that, brings us all together is I am friends with women in this industry who are also professional singers and women with amazing stories. I've known Monisa for, years and years and years, and, just to hear, her truth and her honesty and have her share, her triumphs and, her struggles. Same with Kiki, with the issues that she has with her, the stabbing incident. We want people to understand we are real women first. We're real mothers first. We're real sensitive first. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then everything else comes after that, and God just happened to bless us with gifts that, have allowed us to feed our families,
Yeah, and speaking of R&B Divas Atlanta, what can we expect from this season? Because I'm telling you, I'm seeing some juiciness in those trailers and in those previews. Yeah. So what can we expect this season?
Well, this season, unlike last season I was very, very hands-on. In fact, I probably held on too tight, which is why I got a bad rap for being controlling and, whatever. Because I was concerned as an executive producer, not just and as a person who was friends with all of these ladies. This season, Faith and I have kind of taken a step back and just focused more on our lives and our families, and less on trying to control a train. So you're going to see the results of a lot of emotions and people just being able to just kind of say what they want to say. You know what I mean? And that's not altogether a bad thing because it's real. But what you get when you have artists who are already sensitive and already emotional is kind of, an overflow of that emotion and sensitivity. And it's definitely a different season. I mean, I would be lying to you if I told you that, somebody, I was laughing, I was doing an interview with somebody, they're like, oh, y'all done went from the gospel divas, the gospel R&B divas, to the love and hip-hop R&B divas. I was like, okay. So yeah, you definitely will see a lot more of that kind of reaction and behavior. And, you know, some people love it, and some people are like, we want our sister friends back. But, you know, either way it goes, it is what it is. It's been in the can now, so we'll see what the audience thinks.
Because I'm noticing that you and Selena Johnson are like oil and water, at least from an episode last week. They're like oil and water.
Well, we've been that way. Selena and I have been that way for a while. Selena and I have, you know, there were incidents in season 1, you know, where I realized, and there's nothing wrong with that. People think, you know, oh, that's terrible that you're telling the truth about how you feel about somebody. No, it's terrible that, you know, the truth about how I felt wasn't expressed last season. And this season, I'm just like, instead of, you know, I had the theory, and I know it's probably not a good idea if you're doing reality TV, but I had the theory, like, we're family, we're sisters. Let's keep our, you know, let's entertain people, you know, let's, you know, let them see what's real, but because we have brands to protect, and because we don't have to be ratchet in order to get, and I hate that word, but I'm using it more frequently now. Anyway, but, you know, we don't have to do that. I felt like we didn't have to really go there with that. And I guess, you know, at a certain point, it was just kind of like, you know, the gloves were on. You know what I'm saying? And I just decided that I was going to speak the truth, and I wasn't going to try and, you know, before you saw me doing a lot of, no drinks, we're not going to have this conversation with drinks. And it wasn't because I was trying to control anybody. It's just because I knew where it could go. This season, you're going to see where it goes, and that's just that.
Wow. So were you and Selena, were you both at odds even before you started the show?
There were some things that were said before the show started to just sort of, you know, let me start off by saying this, and I've said this over and over, and I mean it from my heart. I love Selena Johnson. I have no hate for her in my heart. I don't like her, and I don't think that she and I will ever really be friends, because I think that there are some things that Selena needs to work through in terms of her anger management issues. And I think that is, outside of that, Selena's cool as I don't know what. I mean, I think I have fun with her. You know, we did have fun, and I did do her workout DVD even after the season, just because when a person says, apologizes to you and says, look, you know, I'm trying to change, I'm trying to do better, you know, you want to believe that, and you want to be the sister and the friend and support that, you know, but when it turns into a pattern and then it becomes physical, I just don't tolerate that. I don't put my hands on anybody, and I don't want anybody putting my hands on me, on their hands on me, because I know that I won't react to that very well.
Okay. Wow. So my last question for you regarding Selena, why, if you know you guys don't get along that well, why would you put her on the show?
Why would I put her on the show? Well, because I put her on the show because I wasn't aware of that temperament until after we started kind of preparing for the show and whatnot. Gotcha. And again, in season 1, you know, it was, hey, look, this was new to all of us. You know, cameras, there were a lot of, I knew she was going through a lot with the relocating, you know what I mean? So there were a lot of reasons for me to say, hey, look, we're going to be sisters either way it goes. Right. And I still feel that way to a degree. But over the summer, things that transpired that just, where I realized it wasn't just me and Selena, and hopefully the audience will realize this at some point. It's not a Nicci and Selena issue, period, because she didn't mush me. She mushed Monifa. Some of the things that she said that I felt were out of pocket, she didn't say about me. She said those things about Kiki. She didn't push me. She pushed my girlfriend, who's a high-level executive, at an event. So I'm reacting to things that she's done to other people, in addition to some things that she has done to me that lead me to believe that she has anger management issues that she needs to work through. That's not about, you know, trying to be mean or disrespectful. It's just me calling it like I see it, period. And there are some things I need to work on. I'm fully aware of that. Not being everybody's mama, not trying to save the world, you know, not trying to control everything. I mean, there are things I have to work on as well, but I have never been disrespectful. I've never yelled and cursed out one of my cast members and been, you know, hostile towards anybody. And I think that the build-up this season, which you have to kind of stick around and watch to see, you know, hopefully, you know, the truth is more apparent. I mean, you'll see as things unfold with both Atlanta R&B Divas and LA R&B Divas. You know, a lot of things are sensationalized. A lot of things are done a certain way for the sake of television. I'm never going to change who I am for the sake of a TV show. I'm never going to lie about who I am for the sake of a TV show. I answer to a much higher power than any, co-EP or a partner or anything else. And I'm not ever going to compromise who I am as a woman and what I want to accomplish in this world as a black woman and the legacy I want to leave behind for myself, my daughter, and the people that, are inspired by what I do. I'm never going to compromise that. So if it means me moving on to greener pastures, then I'll do that before I stoop to that level for some ratings.
I know that's right. Okay, amen. Because we have so many people that do stoop to that level. So I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, and it's not everybody. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. Finish
I was
your
going
thought.
to say it's not necessarily, I recently went on a bit of a rant on Twitter about just how frustrated I was because I was at an event at someone's birthday party. And the owner of an establishment that we were in was like, oh, yeah, I saw you last time I saw y'all. It was, talking about how this whole thing went down. And it was so humiliating for me because I've never, ever in my life went into a restaurant or anybody's establishment and flipped out or clowned. And the fact that we now have been classified in that group of women and those types of shows, it makes me very angry. Well, let me take that angry word out. It disappoints me and hurts my feelings. And I went on a little bit of a rant just talking about how frustrated I was with the stereotype, but we have to not just hold the women on the shows accountable. There are a lot of people that you don't see that are responsible for making the show work. They don't just fire up cameras and just have us just do what we're doing. That's not how it goes. So I think people need to relate to that. When you see women fighting on television and you see issues and problems and stuff, it's because people get to know who you are and they know the things that make you tick and they know the things that will make you snap. And a lot of times you see that happening. And I'm sorry, I'm not afraid to talk about it because the bottom line is if somebody doesn't, then where are we headed?
Right. And I thank you for your openness and for your honesty as well, because with that being said, you also have two new divas on the show, Latasha Scott and Angie Stone. How are they fitting in with the chemistry of the other ladies? Because I know sometimes when you bring in two different personalities and dynamics, sometimes it can kind of change a little bit. So can you kind of tell me how did them coming in, did it change any of the chemistry along the way?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it changed any of the chemistry. I'm always for any other amazing singers coming on board to be a part of, something like this. I don't really know Latasha that well. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to really spend a lot of time with her this season. We were all together in instances, but as you'll see, you know what I mean, it was just, not a lot of opportunity for us to kind of really sit down and get to know each other. Angie Stone and I have known each other for years and years and years, and I've always respected Angie for what she brings to the industry. She's been doing this since 1979, and Angie is like, a big sister, to us all. So I think anytime you bring a group of talented women together, it has, especially divas, it has its pros and it has its cons. You got to kind of watch the show, and I hate to say that, but I mean, that's kind of what it is. You got to watch the show to see how it all unfolds. Because again, we don't know. I'm not in the editing bay watching things, unfold or manipulating edits or anything. Because trust me, if I was, then you wouldn't have saw half of what you saw with reference to me last season. And that's because it's not fair. Faith and I have to be on a more level playing field as cast members. You know what I mean? Because, you can't just be in there picking all of the good stuff with you, and then your girls look crazy, and these are also your friends, and they're like, hold up, wait a minute. So when we invited all the women to be a part of this, we made it clear that we would be fair and just. And the only way to do that is to let Think Factory Media, who are the producer partners that Faith and I work with on the show, handle that part of it. And, we see it at the same time that everybody else does. So, yeah. And a lot of people think, oh, you just go in there and change this and change that. Well, that's why I do Divas and Cocktails, so that I can have a little bit more control over, what's put out there in our individual brands. I don't want the responsibility of destroying anybody's career. You know what I mean? So you will never be able to say that I intentionally went in there and did something, to manipulate something in my favor, because then that would be the conversation,
With Angie having basically almost 30 years in this industry, what did she bring to the cast of R&B Divas?
I mean, she brings the knowledge of, being in this industry and watching it evolve over a few decades. You know what I'm saying? She brings, she brings the experience of, having been a woman in this industry who wasn't necessarily your quote-unquote typical, supposed to be a successful, incredible artist just in terms of her physical appearance, but fighting through that and making it through that. She brings a lot of, history and knowledge to the situation. I think that Angie is new to this particular group of women, so of course it takes some adjusting. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's like, when you've been there, done that, if somebody's just going through it, you may not have as much tolerance per se,
right,
as you would, because it's like, look, I done been going through this for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, I think I heard the Real Housewives of Atlanta say something. One of the girls was complaining about her imaging in the first season and whatever. I would probably say the same thing to if that was the case with Angie and Tasha, and they were like, oh my God, it was horrible, I don't like my depiction. I'm like, welcome to season 1. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what it is. And I think that it's going to be a surprise to all of us. I think every woman on this show will be a little surprised at how, she is portrayed or, shown and how it fits into the fold. I really don't have any idea, and that's just the God's honest truth.
So you're like waiting in anticipation, like all of us on Wednesday, so you can see what you look like and basically what it's going to be.
But you know what I've done? Like, I won't be watching it as it plays out this week either because I have another event. I just, for me, it's just a gig that I've done. It's finished. You know what I mean? I'm on to the next thing. And not in a negative way. It's just, I think that if we become too consumed with how someone else chooses to have us come across on television and too consumed with what the people on Twitter think and too consumed with social media, then that's when people start, getting to a place of sort of losing who they really truly are. And I almost went there last season. I was depressed every day because I was like, Lord, I just tried to bring us all together for something positive, and people got me looking like Eveline, and everybody hates me. And it wasn't until my husband and my mom called me in tears, like, that's not you. I'm loud. I will say what's on my mind. I'm passionate, but I never, be the person that I saw in some of those moments. You know what I mean? And it's not about excuses. It's just about the truth. So if I allow myself to create who I am or continue to evolve in that space of worrying what other people think, I'll be done started using drugs or, jumped off of a doggone building. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. I mean, really, and that's what happens to artists. They get so consumed with, look what they did to Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. That stuff hurts. It really bothers you when you're trying to do something positive and you're just trying to put out good music, or you're just trying to show people, this is my struggle with my weight loss, or this is my struggle with my addiction. And then for the sake of ratings, things, come off a certain way. Artists are already sensitive enough. So you cannot live in that anticipation of what's going to show on TV. You have to live in the anticipation of what you can continue to do to help uplift and inspire and empower your community. Because ain't nothing selling and ain't nothing interesting on TV but drama.
All right now. So is that we're going to be getting from R&B Divas? We're going to get some more drama?
Look, they say it. TV One says it. 2 more divas, 2 times the drama. I would like to say it's 8 times the drama.
Wow.
Because it's just, it's dramatic. And when you don't have, when the relationships, everybody's sort of going their own direction, and that whole bond of sisterhood is kind of like, well, I'm doing my thing, well, I'm doing my thing, well, I'm doing my thing, then it's just breeding ground for more drama.
So I know you said you're doing some new things now. So tell us some of those new things. I know you have Curvato.
Yes.
If people want to purchase some of your outfits, can they go online? Can you give us some more information about it?
Absolutely. You can see everything I'm working on at allthingsnicci.com. And I spell my name with 2 C's because I want to be cute and different back in the day. Allthingsnicci.com, and you register, set up a profile. My goal for Curvato is to really turn it into a real lifestyle company. We want to be the Facebook for curvy girls and real women, You know, we want that to be sort of a hub. I have a whole networking site where you can upload your profile, your sizes, your pictures. All of our model searches and things we'll do from there. I'm working on a curvy pageant, which is an idea I just literally came up with. So I really want to empower women and girls who feel like they are not maybe as fly as they used to be, or maybe they feel like they've always been sort of the underdog because of their size or their complexion or whatever. I lived with that for so many years, and I just had to make the decision to just let that go and just live for the people who love me and live for the people who support me. And I just think as human beings in general, if we can do more of that, then we'll have happier people in this world. So I want CurvadoLifestyle.com and allthingsnicci.com to be a cool place where we can help promote each other. If you have a business or a brand, if you're a singer, post your YouTube videos. I really want to set up a networking site that's about support and inspiring rather than trashing and you know, making people feel bad about themselves.
That's wonderful. And what else can we expect from you? You got any new
Divas
music coming out? Divas and Cocktails. What is that about?
Divas and Cocktails is my new web series. It's kind of like Watch What Happens, meet Wendy Williams with a little bit of Saturday Night Live. It's comedy, it's commentary, it's pop culture. You know, we're making fun of things. We're making fun of ourselves. It's intelligent conversation among women. This week's topic is cosmetic surgery and fake butts and whether or not it's okay to do that. You can see it every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. right after R&B Divas on divasandcocktails.com. So really excited about that. And Brownstone, we're going on tour this summer. Brownstone will be on the road, reunited. I'm so excited about that because, you know, God has put music back in my heart, and I'll be on the road with my sisters having fun. Yeah, so things are good. Things are going well. I'm very, very blessed.
And many people didn't even realize that you had the opportunity to work with MJJ Music. Did you get a chance to work with Michael Jackson personally?
You know what? We did. Michael was very instrumental in us getting our deal. We weren't in the studio with him on a regular basis, but he put us in the studio with Rodney Jerkins and Dave Jam Hall, Untouchables, all those guys that were huge, you know, producers back in the day. And he allowed us, you know, we wrote and produced a lot, or co-produced a lot of our stuff. So Michael just let us go in the studio and let it happen. Jerry Greenberg, who brought us to Michael, you know, was the reason that our lives were changed. And, you know, that was sort of me thinking back on what happened to him, what happened to Whitney. I was kind of bitter. And then having a conversation with my mother, realizing, you know what, God gave you this gift to give to other people and not hoard and have a bad attitude about it. So it kind of took that and me seeing myself. That was the best thing about season one, is me seeing the hostility I had towards music. And, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, wow, I guess I did have a real funky attitude about something that's supposed to be really positive and good. So seeing that really changed me a lot.
Wow, what a great story. You know, and like you said, it did work out for the good. You was able to see yourself because you really were, to me, watching it. Bitter against music. Yeah, you did, and that's what came across.
Like, hit music, right? And it, you know, I was coming off of the heels of just like nobody cares about soul music artists. Nobody cares about Michael Jackson. Whitney Houston is the greatest voice of our time, and look what they did to her. I was angry. You know what I mean? Like, I was angry. And I had to just let that go and appreciate the people who appreciate what I do and stop focusing on so much on the people who don't care.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, for all of you that are listening, we want to make sure you tune in to watch R&B Divas on TV 110/9 Central. If you want to see something juicy, they got some juicy stuff coming up, y'all. We got Angie Stone, Natasha Scott, we got Kiki, we got Selena, we got Monifa, and we got Nicci. We got all the ladies. It is going to be great, and I pray that we get something really good to take away towards the end. I really want to see you guys do the tour and what we all can learn and what we can take away from watching this show on the last episode. The takeaway. So we'll be looking out for that. Again, Nicci, you're more than welcome to come back to the show. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome, and have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
God bless. All right, bye-bye.